That's gonna happen. No. Thank you. We're going to think back to unit number 1, and we're going to see if we can remember any of the quantities. Quantities are things that we measure. And units are what we measure it in. What we measure the quantity in. Now, these are not particularly wonderful statements because they could be taken different ways. If I say what we measure the quantity in, you might think, oh, I measure it in a measuring cup, but that's not what we mean. Okay, we're going to give you some examples so it actually makes sense. Can anyone think of something we could measure about this pencil? We could measure its mass. Mass is the quantity. Okay, so that's what we are measuring about the pencil. Do you remember the symbol for mass? Little m. What is the unit for mass? Grams or kilograms, either way, both. I'm just going to write grams because it's simpler that way. Grams. And the abbreviation for grams is G. So mass is measured in excuse me. Mass is measured in grams. Can anyone think of anything else we could measure about this pencil? We could measure its length. Length is represented by the lowercase l, and it is measured in, what could we use to measure length? We could use a ruler, but what is the unit that is on this ruler? I'm just going to put meters. But if I say grams, I could also mean or kilograms. kg. If I have meters, it could be or centimeters. If you go into physics or chemistry, one of the first units that you will do is converting between all of the different types of units. So converting between, say, going from centimeters to kilometers, right? So if you like math, that's the kind of course you might enjoy. If you really don't like math, that's the kind of course that you might not enjoy. I'm just telling you this because next year you get to make a decision about which grade 11 course you take. This year, you're just taking Science 10 next year, right? But next year, you need to start thinking, do I like math? Do I not like math? If you don't like math, physics and chemistry are not where you want to go. If you do like math, those could be good choices. You don't have to be super at math. You just have to be like, I don't hate it. And if you don't like vocabulary, what science should you not choose if you hate vocabulary? Biology. There's a lot of vocabulary in biology. But if you like biology, even if you find the vocabulary hard, but you're really interested in it, that can make a huge difference too, because you may be like, I do find it difficult, but on the same time, I get to learn about the human body and how it works. And like, that gives me a lot of information that I can use even in my regular life. So just start thinking about things like that as you go into next year. What is another quantity? We've got mass, length, temperature. Temperature is abbreviated big T. What is it measured in? Degrees Celsius. Degrees Celsius. Yes, you may. Time. Very good. Abbreviation for time is little t. What is time measured in? What unit? Seconds. That's not the only unit you could use. What are some other units of time? Minutes or hours. And minutes, should we abbreviate minutes as M? No, because that's meters. Minutes is abbreviated min. Or hours. And hours is just H, usually. See, we got mass, length, temperature, time, force. Force, is that a capital F or a lowercase f? Capital F. See, a lot of you guys remember stuff from very first part of the semester. That's really good. Anyone remember the unit for force? That is a Newton, yes. I'm going to have to look and see, unless you guys remember. Do you remember any others? Distance and volume, yes. Distance is measured, what's the abbreviation for distance? Little d. And we measure it in? How far? Meters. Or kilometers or centimeters or whatever. And we also had volume. See if you can tell your partner what the unit for capital V volume is. How would we measure the three-dimensional space taken up by an item? That would be liters. Or milliliters. The reason that we've gone through this all again is so that you get the difference between what is a quantity and what is a unit. You would not say, I went outside and I found that the degrees Celsius was 24 temperatures, right? Would that make sense to say that as a sentence? Would it make sense to say the centimeters of the pencil is 4 length? Does that sentence make sense? No, that's a weird sentence, yes? So if you write centimeters of pencil equals 4, that's what you're saying here. Yeah? So you don't want to say centimeters of pencil equals 4. How would you describe the length of the pencil? How do you write that down? The length of the pencil, if we want to say the length of the pencil equals 4 centimeters, How do we write that as a mathematical statement? Little l. Length of pencil. Where do we write the pencil? Down at the bottom, right. Length of pencil equals 4 cm. This is, that is the equal sign. Yeah? So that's how you would record a measurement. Because one of the things you're going to do in this physics unit is you're going to take information out of a problem and you're going to write it and summarize it so you can see all of the information really easily without all those words. Word problems can be tricky, but if you can take the information out, it becomes easy to organize. So let's take a look at all of our new quantities and units on our purple sheet. At the top of the page, we have formulas. This is a formula. That is also known as an equation. Both of those words can be used, okay? And for this unit, we have 3 equations. If you want to do enriched, you can memorize these, okay? Now, before you say, oh, that sounds way too hard for me, we have the I quit formula. So you go, I quit. I quit. I quit. I quit. Yes, I equals Q over T. We have the very easy question. And again, it makes that same shape. It goes across and then down. I quit. You shouldn't quit because that is a very easy question. And you know what? When you finish that very, very easy question, you say, oh my gosh, I did it. I am very right. Okay? I am very right. So if you do want to memorize those, feel free. If you don't, you get to use this purple sheet. Okay? So you get this with you on all the quizzes you'll be writing in this unit. Remember, there is no test for this unit. There will only be quizzes because we're heading right up during this unit to my, what do you call it? To my report cards. And so I need to have your marks done. So all I can do is like little quizzes. I can't mark a whole test in time. Okay? Report cards are due on the last day of school. So I think it's like the 20th or something. Pardon me? They come out after, about a week after, something like that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know why they make it that way, but whatever. All right, so quantities and units. We're going to learn these as time goes on, so don't worry about memorizing them right now. Have you heard of electric current? Electric current is represented by the letter I, which makes no sense because current doesn't even have an I in it, right? It's not nice like time is T, right? But it came from the intensity of the current. So if we want the symbol for current, we use the letter I. Does anybody know the unit of current? Has anybody been doing electronics or something like that? Amps. Yes. So the symbol, the unit is amperes or amps, and it gets abbreviated as the letter A. And we'll learn about what that coulomb per second is later, the C over S. We'll learn that later. The next one we're looking at is charge. Charge, because when you have electric current, do you guys know what's moving? Current is to do with like moving things. If you have a river, you have a current. In a river, what's moving? The water. If you have an electric current, does anybody know what's moving? Electricity. What do you think electricity might be made of? Energy. It is the flow of electricity is caused by energy. It's caused by things having a high potential energy and moving to a, if things have a high potential energy, where do they like to move to? Down. They like to move to low potential energy. High potential energy naturally moves to low potential energy. So that difference in energy is going to make the current flow. I want you to think about the word electricity. Electricity. What is moving in electrical current? Electrons. The moving thing are electrons in electric currents. At least until we get to grade 12. And then there's other things. So charge, which is going to be your electrons, because electrons have a charge. Charge is represented by the letter Q. Again, what are we doing? Charge doesn't have a Q in it, right? The Q stands for the quantity of the charge, okay? And we will learn that the unit for that is coulombs, which is represented by the letter C. Okay? And then there's one we already know. We already know about time, don't we? Do we already know about time? Yeah, we know time is represented by the letter T. T. And it's measured in seconds S. We're not going to look at this whole table today, but that gives you an idea that we will be using some quantities and units we already know, like time, and some new ones like current and charge, okay? And all of those are on your data sheet, and we will be using the equations at the top of the page. And at the bottom of this page, we have a little method for solving problems. It is called guess cubs, and anytime that you see these little cubs who are asking questions, they're making little guesses, that means that that's going to be an opportunity for you to use the guess cubs method. Guess cubs stands for the given, the unknown, the equation, solve, substitute, calculate, units, box, stop, or sig figs. Do you need to know that now? Not yet, but you'll know that it's on this page when you need it. Okay? Let's flip to the very back page. Okay, so flip that thing just right over to the very back page. Does this look easier to read or harder to read than the front page? What do you think? It's cleaner, yes? It does not give you as much information, but it is cleaner. So if you get used to a lot of things and you don't need all the extra information, you can come back here and you can say, oh, I know that I is current, and I can see its unit there is amps or coulombs per second. So if you have some of it in your head, you can use this trimmed down version, okay? But you'll still have that front version if you forget. If you're like, I don't remember what I was, go back to the front and you'll find I is current, okay? And this just gives you the guess cubs. It doesn't tell you how to do each step, but it does tell you what each of those letters stands for. So if you're doing a problem and you're like, I don't know what to do next, oh, I'm going to write down my given. That's the first thing I do. Okay? So everything you need to know is virtually on here. Let's open to those middle pages now. This just made everything more spread out. It's like the first page, but more spread out. So if you want all the information, but you don't want it so cramped, right? You just want to be able to see it with a lot of more space in between. This is everything that was on that first page, but instead of being on one page, it is on 2 pages. See, Guest Cubs isn't squished up. It's all like in one nice long thing. So the middle ones, I don't know if you like that, but whichever one you like to look at, first page and last page and the middle 2 pages all give you the same information. Okay? Are we good with that? All right. We are going to start with how electricity works. Ooh, you remember that piece of paper you had where you wrote some stuff? We're gonna use that again. Those were our quantities and units. Those were things we already knew. Here's some other stuff we already know, or in theory. What are 2 types of chemical bonds? And I'm sorry, I know that you just learned them, but they're not hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are kind of stupid because they're not actually bonds, they're just forces. But we give them the name bonds, which is really confusing. But let's just put those out of our head for the moment. Ionic and covalent. Tell your partner anything you know about ionic bonds. What types of elements form ionic bonds? Metal plus nonmetal. What types of elements form covalent bonds? Nonmetal plus nonmetal. We didn't spend much time talking about this, so if you don't know this, it's okay. But does anybody remember how the atoms, which are neutral atoms, become ions? Like if I had lithium and I drew its Bohr model, and if I had fluorine, let's see if you guys can remember how to draw fluorine's Bohr model. Fluorine is element number 9. See if you can remember how to draw a Bohr model for fluorine. I'll give you a clue. It's got 2 shells. If it is atomic number 9, how many electrons does it have? 9. Where do the first 2 go? On the first shell. When we put on the next 7, where do they go? We start at the top and we put on, that was 1, 2, this is 3. Where do we go next? To the right, that's 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why would these guys form bonds? Yes. Yeah, the lithium is going to give an electron, and the fluorine is going to take an electron. This electron here is going to go and slot in there. And what we will end up with then is our lithium. It has lost one electron. If you lose one electron, what is your charge? +1. And if fluorine has gained one electron, what is its charge? -1. What does positive do to negative? Positive and negative attract. That is our attraction between positive and negative. So that's a bond, chemical bond, attraction between positive and negative. And if you're like, my God, we're not doing chemistry, don't worry, this review will serve you well next year because you will be doing Bohr models again next year. So no harm in doing like a quick little review, okay? Covalent. We have a nonmetal and a nonmetal. So for this one, why don't we try hydrogen, because that's a nice easy one to draw. How many electrons does hydrogen have in its outer shell? 1. And we're going to put it on the side. I know I'm messing with you now because you're like, why is it not going on the top? Let's just put it on the side for now. Trust me? Can you trust me? Can you guys trust me? Okay. We're going to do oxygen next. Oxygen is atomic number 6. How many electrons on the first shell? Oh, it's 8. What is wrong with me? I'm a dummy. Thank you. Thank you. I'm losing my mind. It is not atomic number 6. It is atomic number 8. Thank you. Thank you. And so that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many empty spots on oxygen? We have an empty spot here, and we have an empty spot here. We're going to put another hydrogen down here. And this one, I'm going to put the electron on the top. Trust is failing? Oh, but you'll see why in a moment. Okay. Nonmetals and nonmetals do not give and take electrons. Does anybody remember what they do? They share electrons. So over in our ionic ones, we had giving electrons and taking electrons. But over in covalent, we have sharing electrons. And so what would happen here is that we would have the hydrogen and the oxygen would have a little overlap. And the hydrogen would have one electron there, and the oxygen would have one electron here. And then the oxygen goes, oh, I drew that badly. I should have left more space. There, better. Okay. Here's our oxygen. And there's a hydrogen at the bottom. The hydrogen has one electron, that black one. And the oxygen has one electron there. And then we have the two at the top. And we have the two at the side. Does everybody have a full shell now? Yes. So you can either get a full shell by giving electrons and taking electrons, or you can get a full shell by sharing electrons. Why are we talking about chemical bonds? Because when we're looking at electricity, we actually have a third type of bond. Can you guess what kinds of elements make the third type of bond? We already have ionic, which makes the metal and the nonmetal. We have the covalent, which is nonmetal and nonmetal. What kind of elements would make our third type of bond? Metal and metal. You want to guess what kind of bonding that's called? It's called metallic bonding. And metallic bonding is what allows metals to conduct electricity. And we'll be looking at that in more detail later. Stop fussing with the food. So all we've really done today in terms of electricity is we've sort of activated our prior knowledge, right? We had ionic bonding, we have covalent bonding. Now we have metallic bonding. What is electricity? Electricity is moving electrons, at least current electricity. We're not going to worry about static electricity because it's technically not part of the grade 9 course, and we've only got 2 weeks left. Maybe on our last day or two, we'll do a few little experiments with it just because it's fun, okay? But we're not going to have any actual lessons on static electricity. We also reviewed units and quantities. And for the rest of the class, we have half an hour left. The first thing we're going to do is a challenge. You don't have to write this down. But for the challenge, you and your partner, or you and your group of 3, or if you must have a group of 4, you can do a group of 4. But I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mini light bulbs. So I cannot have more than 11 groups. So if you can work in a group of 3 or 4, that might actually be helpful, because that way we won't run out of light bulbs. For this little challenge, you get one light bulb. You get one wire, and you get one battery. And the challenge is to make the light bulb light. And once you can get it to light one way, see if you can get it to light 4 different ways. After that, if you finish the challenge, you can either rewrite a quiz, or you can study for your test, or you can work on your cheat sheet. Okay, so that's the first thing, is the challenge. And number 2 is requiz, cheat sheet, study. Do you want to just start on them now? Yeah. And if you have like more quizzes to do, you can start on them now. So you get one light bulb, one battery, one wire. Yes. Why don't you get 2 groups of 8? Yeah? You can like help each other. It's just that it'll be more involved. This is not yours. This is on you. Once you got it lit, call me over, or if you get stuck, call me over.
Like someone's gonna break the light bulb. I like to prepare myself.
Oh, one last thing. Do not connect one end of the wire to one end of the battery and the other end of the wire to the other end of the battery, because that's a short circuit and it's just going to use up the battery, and then we won't have it for other experiments. Okay, so do not connect the wire directly from one end to the other. Do not. And you've got lots of hands, right? So you, like, I'll hold this one and you hold that one. And you get one wire, one light bulb, and one battery, and that's it. One wire. One wire, one battery, one light bulb.
If you want to go to the light bulb, slit.
Oh.
It's not made in China, or it's just like. I think that's that is probably coming back. Yo. Great idea. Maybe one way to find thank you for waiting.
I'm really.
But it has to be. What if it's like only what if it's oh, not a word. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. These are I use your eye. With that. American veterans.
So what I want you to imagine.
You're getting.
I'm not talking about where does the first part go? Yeah, well, let's get to.
Wait.
Well, this is how much problem it is. Where
Flyers. We're so no. Elliot, why don't you?
And we're doing it. Close to the end. How'd they do it? I don't know. You can talk to them if you want to.
Yes, it would be other way. It would be other way, bro. Other way. If it's bad, you put it again.
You did it again, a different way?
Yeah, and the thing how is it bad look bad?
That's fine. That's the second way.
Wait, what the shit?
Now it's two more.
Bro, they're over there.
Exactly what we're doing. Yeah, we've been doing that. It's not about- You're right. Exactly. Okay.
I actually tweet it. I'm doing pretty good. Now, it's not like again, I believe you.
Let's check the battery. And in Hawaii, let's make sure we haven't.
Did like you put like this battery on the like hey, what's this? Yeah, make you go bro. Wait, that sounds like can you have a oh, it's not good. They got home to check on that. On your life.
Got another one. You got it two. Got it now.
Oh, so you. Why do you guys really hire this one? What's
This part's what you know. Okay, sure. Lots of good ideas. Yeah, that's good. Oh, wait, please don't go back. I bet you this series is gonna give me a
And if it doesn't work, then we have to check.
Yeah, okay. No, it's not
Another one, yay! Nice. Now you.
I don't really because that's I don't understand.
And also has this.
You lie about what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And it's also about how you like say you Not to say anything. My only source of destiny is what I can me and whole team are saying like I might become the yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. You still get off. No, I'm gonna get
Question.
I'm gonna
Yes.
get like
Is that
you're getting the whole bag. You're getting the whole bag.
No, you're not opening it. I want me back.
Or add water. Add water. No, you have to take this. You have to take 43 guys, right? Guys, right? After, never coming out. Okay, now it's not music anymore. It's threes. I think they sound like 9 Yeah. Like Steph Curry made 120 in a row. He should make it. Steph Curry made 3 in a row. You're like, no, that you made like 3 in a row. Yeah. Yo, it's so hard, bro. When I did that, I thought it was gonna be like Shame on you. Not shame on you. In the one game, coffee.
They actually help you get rid of them, you know? Yeah.
Okay, let's
If you
see what
think
I got.
about it, it's actually very sustainable.
I know, right? You're just like, otherwise I would have to throw them out. No. Okay. I might have to make more of a couple of them, but let's see what
Okay,
we've got.
so if you only have one of them, do not worry about it.
One, two of these ones.
So
Got
I can go over some
one of
today,
this. Oh, I got another one of this somewhere. Let me just look.
some tomorrow. Or
Jane
like
never
after.
ended up using this one, so let's give you this one.
I know I have an extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There may be maybe it was exact.
Folks, can you make sure that your wires go away? And your bulbs and your batteries. Your homework is to study for your test tomorrow. Right? Okay, everyone back here? Okay.
Who else can play better in the sport? Me, Austin. Or are you gonna play better? Not play No, my dad's. Hey, Elliot's gonna play with us. Yo, smart, sorry. Okay. How are you? How are you? 300 this is your whole dot.
Also, I don't say that sound.
I'm so asking that. I've tried everything. We do 4 points. We're done. In the game 7. This is good. What is that? Oh my god.